not prepared.
I'm not either. I feel like, but I think this is good to talk about in the podcast. I feel like my life is running me suddenly. So I want to talk about that.
Yes. I think we jump right in because. Yes. Okay.
Great. I'm ready. You ready?
All right. I'm ready.
So I wanted to run this past you really fast, but I was thinking I wanted to share this if you think it fits, because it might not. Short version. I'm going to watch your face when I say this since we're behind the scenes. Political debate, child assigned to watch it, child super tired from gymnastics, fell asleep. And so the assignment was watch it, but we know most of you are going to probably not. So just talk about it at breakfast. And I thought to myself in the morning, how do I present this to her? Because I'm super careful to keep all of my political beliefs, everything. We do Sunday school, which is some of my belief system, but I want her to pick. So I brought it all back to fitness. And not only did it show me, oh, that's our connection. That's our base thing we can always return to. But she got it. And it was funny. I got an email from her teacher talking about that and what a great parallel it was. So I thought I'd kind of start with that, just in how everything does kind of tie back into fitness. Those same tenets that make us successful with fitness, we carry to success in the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me if you think it's too political, because it might be.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
I worked.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the whole point of it for me was like not identifying with any candidate, but it's amazing to me how that has become our commonality when I'm not an athlete. So I kind of like that.
I kind of want to see where it goes.
Okay. But I didn't want to drop that on you in the middle.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Drop anything. It works.
Why don't you bring us in, and we can talk a little bit first and then you start with yours, because I loved that article.
Yes. Okay, let's do that. All right. I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, I remember now. Okay.
I love everything about it. The title, everything.
Yes, me too. Okay, we'll hold it back. Okay. All right, so I'm bringing us in, right?
Episode 3076.
Welcome to the wycwyc podcast. This is episode 32. Ronnie here and
Carla in sunny but finally like cool Texas.
Oh, it is raining like cats and dogs here in Maryland.
It is?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I am like celebrating because it was the first time, we don't have to bleep this out, that I didn't have boob sweat walking a child to school that I can remember, because it is lovely. So
it's very cool, but we've had torrential downpours all ever since last night, and there's like flash flood warnings, and we're in that like fall crazy weather, just flipping on the dime, because I feel like it was just 90 degrees 2 days ago, and now it's like
and going 50. Back to what you said last time about the walks, what do you do with that? That's sometimes when the weather bums me out, like the rain.
Yeah, today is the first day we haven't taken our walk because it was raining, and so I have it in my habit thing, my little habit app. Did you take your walk today? So I'm hoping that there's a clearing later, and even if I go by myself, at least I'll get my walk.
It's the rain for some reason. Like I will go through growing up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, cold, don't care, sleet. But there's something about that true torrential rain where you can't talk to anybody else.
Yeah, well, and usually the true torrential rain doesn't last very long either.
Yes.
So, but I mean, it's funny because I'll run in the rain, but I won't walk in the rain. Does that mean?
Oh, interesting. Since I don't run, I would walk. But then I was thinking if I was using it to connect with Bill, I wouldn't love it because you both have your umbrellas and you can't hear each other.
It doesn't make sense to do like a friendly walk in the rain. It just doesn't. Yeah, no, it's like, hey, join me in the rain. It doesn't work. I didn't even ask him. He didn't even bring it up either, because it was like a torrential downpour when he came back from dropping off the kids to school. So anyway, I'm very excited to be talking to you right now because I've been like neck deep in work, in like work. Like, is this work?
Yes, and I keep saying to a good friend of mine, she's like, hey, how's your day? And I say, I am grateful for the work because it allows me to do what I love to do. Because it is, I don't know if yours is as much. Mine feels so feast or famine that I'm in the feast, and it can sometimes feel like, I'm in the feast. But I'm like, I need to be super grateful for this.
Yeah, no, I am super. I've been getting projects from this one company, and so they're all like scripting, programming stuff. So it's just me and my computer, like looking at code and like timing audio to match with text on the screen. And what I realized as I got older, even though my mom has always told me this when I was younger, is I need to work around people. I need people. I need to talk to people. I want to interact with people. I crave meetings. And here I am by myself in my office all alone. And I think the husband gets annoyed with me because I'll be like, he's screaming like questions to him. Like, hey, can you come over here and look at this? I'm like,
I used to think that would be the worst thing ever. My first stretch, I started working more solo when I sold the training studio. So like 2001. So for the few years there, I thought, oh my gosh, my throat would close. If I had to go back into an office, that would be a nightmare. And now I think that might not be so bad. I know there'd be negative things, but it would be different negative things.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I love the fact that I can work from home, but there is like, I really want some human interaction right now. So this whole, every Thursday I get to talk to you is like, yay, it's Thursday. And Thursday's my bowling league night. So I get, yay.
It is that, yes, having something.
Like I look forward to Thursday now more than Fridays. I don't know. It's like Thursday's my day.
Yes, that's the same reason why I say yes to everything which involves groups. And I got a text, I'm sad that she has my number, from the school counselor before we started this saying, hey, it's wellness week in October. Will you come and talk about doing what you can when you can for the entire faculty? Without even thinking about it, I'm like, yes. Like anything, it's during the day, it's in front of people. I will vibe off their energy. Yes.
I did the same thing last year. I met with the teachers at my son's school and I gave a whole wycwyc like lecture. And
was it fun?
I think it was fun. I gave books away. They are all like, oh my God, this is great. And it was really fun. It was fun. And actually then I was like, why aren't I doing this more? Because I really enjoy this. But it's one of those things where you don't know almost, I don't know. I'm not a good, we've talked about this. I'm not a good self-seller. Like I don't toot my own horn, and so therefore I don't get opportunities.
And even when you toot your own horn, it's hard to find, and this is a whole different podcast, people willing to pay. Yes, we'd love to have you come in.
Yeah, this was a volunteer.
An honorarium of $20, which is awesome if you're not traveling and needing hotel.
Right. Yeah, this was just a volunteer. I know the gym teacher. She's like, hey, we have a little group of teachers that are trying to lose weight, and they meet once a week, and they have and I said, do you mind being our guest speaker one week? I'm like, no, not at all. That'll be fun. And so it was cool.
And I do vibe off that energy.
I do. Yeah, I did enjoy it. So I have a question for you for this week. If I make a statement, and I know you know the article, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay, I'll pretend I do not.
Pretend like you don't know it.
Okay.
So if someone asked you what living in the gray meant to you without seeing my article, what would you think? Because I don't think I've ever really heard that expression until I saw this particular article that I wanted to bring to the podcast today.
I would have thought, because right now I'm tying everything back to politics and how everyone's very black and white, that it meant being open-minded, living in the vagueness and being willing to hear both sides. But it's only because I'm so issue-oriented right now.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of, if someone said to me, I had the same thing. It's like, oh, you don't think black and white. But I don't think I ever really applied it to like healthy living and dieting and weight loss, which when I read this article, and the article that I'm bringing is called how, quote, living in the gray can change the way you think about food.
Because it seems the antithesis. I mean, like we've talked about, every diet has rules, and it's those rules that give you structure, and you never go outside of the rules, and that's what will make you successful.
Right. Yes. And I feel like it took me like 30 years in the making to realize that the only way I'd ever be successful is I lived in the gray. Now, I didn't have that terminology.
Yes.
10 years ago, I called it stateless dieting. Like that's what I called it. Like I had a blog post about it, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And it was part of a series I wrote called 3 Steps to a Healthier You. And it was the 3 things I could kind of encapsulate that helped me finally kind of get over the yo-yo dieting and actually make some progress towards reaching my goals and like accomplishing better balanced eating. And one of those was called stateless dieting, which I always would say I was in one of 2 states, right? I was either dieting and not eating anything at all, or eating everything in sight. And there was never, I
think that's every addiction. I don't know whether you'd use that term, but I think about it with like drinking, smoking, whatever it is.
Yes.
On or off.
On or off. It's day or night. One M&M could like set me off into like just eating everything in sight. And I was either always gaining weight or always losing weight. There was never a time where the scale wasn't going up or down. So this concept of like thinking of shades of gray as it applies to like how you're approaching your food choices and dieting and healthy living overall, I think is really, it's one of those, once it hits people, it's eye-opening and you get it. You're like, oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are 8 strategies in this article, which, by the way, this article is written by Marsha. Oh, what's her last name?
Hudnall.
Hudnall. Yes.
I love her.
I know.
She's so hip, and I just love her. She's so insightful and before her time with all of her ways of thinking. I love her.
I agree. And so anytime I found this because I follow her, and it was one of the things that she shared about a week ago. And I was like, oh, I love this. So there's 8 cognitive strategies to support this kind of shades of gray thinking, or this stateless kind of approach to food. And so the one was embracing the gray. So basically just embracing that there is no black or white thinking anymore. You're not having that because it's not on your approved food list or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not a yes to this, no to that. And it's always in the middle. Today, I feel like I'm going to eat lots of vegetables. You know what? Tomorrow, I really want a grilled cheese for breakfast, which is what happened.
I love the embrace. Oh, first of all, I saw the picture of that grilled cheese. I was like, that looks good. But I love the embrace because it's not, I love the word choice. It's not learn about, educate yourself on. It's embrace it. That makes me think like really grasp it, pull it to me, envelop it. I love that.
Right. There's never going to be a time where it's always yes or no. It's always, you have to just embrace it. Like the way that I always put it was like, once you realize that every food choice you make is part of your quote diet, as in anything you eat, it really is a shift in your focus of, oh, I can't have that because I'm dieting mentality. Oh no, that's off limits. I'm dieting right now. And you really then kind of become powerful because you're like, no, I really don't want that right now because I don't want it.
Yes. And it's personal responsibility and owning your choices, and it's learning your body. But go ahead.
Yes. So some of the other ones that are on her list I thought were interesting because I don't know if I would have applied them to kind of gray living or living in the gray when it comes to food. So the second one is cultivate the positive, which we talk about this in the book all the time.
Did that surprise you though? It surprised me for some reason because that feels black or white to me. Like one person would be not gratitude or positive, pessimist, whatever you want to call it. And the other would be the optimist. That seemed not gray to me.
Well, the way she has it is, okay, what's good about your is looking at, we've had a whole positive, didn't we have this conversation about pessimists and optimists?
Yes.
We did. It's like an old podcast. Now it's like a year-old podcast. It's a really old podcast. But I don't think of it as, I think of it as seeing the positive in your choices.
No matter what.
But also reframing them. So like, that's what I meant when we correlated to what's in the book. It's not the, I can't have that because it's on my diet. It's, I can have this instead, or like, remember, it's kind of refocusing and reframing, and looking at the positive.
Turning your words inside out, to quote us.
Well, and think about what we think about when we think about dieting or trying to lose weight or whatever. We always think about all the things we can't have. Oh, I can't have ice cream. I can't have pizza. We never think of all the things that we can have. Like, hey, let's look in the produce department and try to find new stuff. Or did you know there's a new vegetarian restaurant? Why don't we go try some new dishes? Or, you know, we never look at it positively. But if you start to look at it positively, the negative stuff kind of falls away, and you're not focusing on the I can'ts. You're focusing more on the I can'ts. That's how I interpreted this.
Well, and I love your phrasing there of falling away, because even struggling to see it, okay, positivity seems completely different from negativity. But when you say letting it fall away, that does make it gray. It becomes neither. Does that make sense? It becomes neither positive nor negative. It's that gray area of this is what I have. Look, this is actually great.
Right. But it's that level of just being appreciative and having gratitude, which we've already established, I think, across the board, just makes you a happier person.
Yes. Yeah.
So the one that struck me funny, though, was accept compliments and praise, because so this is her third tip on how to like stay in shaded thinking. And I was like, oh, I'm not really seeing the correlation. So she says here, when praise and compliments are offered, accept them graciously and wholeheartedly. Believe in the good things others share about you. And I think this actually, once I pondered it, I was like, okay, it's kind of like directly related to cultivating the positive, because I'm one of those people that when someone gives me a compliment, I try to say thank you, but on the inside, I'm thinking, why did they just compliment me on that? Does that mean all the other times I didn't do well in that?
I
Like,
like, you got a haircut. It looks so good now. Like that.
yeah. Then I'm like, oh, so my hair didn't look good. Like, or like this, like,
Yes.
oh, I love your shirt today. I'm like, well, what I was wearing yesterday, was that not cool? Like I immediately, my husband like wants to wring my neck because anytime he compliments me, I literally think of the most negative potential thing that could possibly mean. And he's like, that didn't even pop into my head. I'm like, I know, I'm wired to like think negatively when someone gives me it doesn't make any sense.
Yes. And I think you nailed it too with wired. I think some of this is the way our brains, we've allowed them to become wired, or we're born that way.
Right. And yes. And so if someone throws me a compliment, for some reason, I have to fight my natural urge to think, not just accept it and go, oh, that was very nice of them, but to go, oh, I wonder why they said that, because maybe I don't normally look this good, or maybe I don't normally.
So, because I go the other way and I scare people, but like, they'll send me a text or say something to me. I'm like, thank you so much. I am going to save that. And when I am having a bad day, I'm going to pull it back out and remind myself that I totally rock. But it is that I just take it. I believe it's what Marcia says. I believe what they say about me, and I take it all at face value.
Oh, I wish I can do that. I'm getting better at it, I think. And I think the more you give compliments, the better you get at it too.
Oh, that's a good point, because you realize I'm not.
Exactly. Like, so when I make it a habit of like, there's been a few times in my life where I'll see someone like wearing very cool shoes or something.
Yeah.
And I'll think to myself, oh, those shoes are really cool. And I'm like, you know what? I need to say that. I need to let them know that I think their shoes are really cool. And without a doubt, anytime that I've always complimented and shared, even like with strangers or whatever, I feel so much better, like just happier. And it's just like, it's contagious. So, and I do feel like, yes, when you start to be a person who give compliments, then you change the way you also receive compliments, because you can see the intent behind them. I mean, not that you'll truly ever know everyone's intent, but you'll have like a more positive outlook as to the intent of the compliment versus immediately, for those of us who are wired like me, thinking the negative. Yes. So I thought that was it. That one, I like, it was funny because it's like one sentence in the entire article, but I pondered that for a long time.
That's a good article.
Yeah. So we don't have to go into depth in all 8 of them, but I'll just kind of like graze over.
I loved number 4.
Yeah. So number 4 was practice great, a new opportunity. I love it. As in, change. This is always related to change. And I actually have some anecdotal information, because we're going through some gym changes right now again. And I'm a little distraught because I'm kind of, it looks like I might be losing my kind of gym outlet with my little workout group, the same people I've been working out with for years. And so-and-so got a new job, and we got a new trainer. And like, it's kind of falling apart.
And that is a big change.
It is, because it's like my safe place. It's like where I go every day. So instead, and I'm like, normally I kind of embrace change, but I'm struggling with it in this sense. And so I have to look at it as, oh, great, maybe this is a new opportunity, maybe to discover a new gym or to find another workout, instead of pondering on the negative of what I'm losing, kind of like with the diet, thinking, oh, I can't eat that, and focusing more on the positive. What opportunities is this going to present for itself? Maybe I'll discover a new class at the gym I like. Maybe I'll discover a new workout partner.
And it really is so true. We're such complicated beings that our brains believe the stories we tell them. So if what you're telling yourself is, oh, this is an awesome opportunity, it's fake it till you make it. But it's also, I really believe there's something organic in our brain that the more we tell ourselves the story of, this is great, it's an amazing opportunity, which I don't do enough, that we really begin to believe it.
I think you're right. I'm right. I'm trying to put this into practice with this gym change as we speak.
I saw a quote, and I want to say it was Elizabeth Gilbert, but this could be wrong. And because either today is National Coffee Day and I have not had enough coffee, or I'm just slow in general. It took me 2 readings to get it, but the quote was along the lines of, if someone offers you a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask which seat, just get on.
Oh, that's so.
And I thought, oh, that's so true. It took me a moment of, wait, what? Where's the rocket ship going? And where am I going to be sitting? But then I was like, yes, that's it.
Okay, that immediately, I don't know if I shared this with our listeners, but that immediately made me think of, and I blogged about this, and I think you know this, but I was offered an opportunity to go to Uganda in the spring.
Yes. Oh, did you change your mind?
I did not change my mind. I'm definitely going. Oh, no. I'm definitely going. But that's exactly what happened, like what you just described. I was given this opportunity to get on a rocket ship.
Yes.
And I went, yes, I don't care where I'm sitting.
Yes,
this
and
is a
it's
once-in-a-lifetime thing.
It really is. And even when I saw that, I remember thinking, I hope I would do that. I had a similar experience going to Kenya. And back then, no child. I was like, yeah, I'll be there. Don't even tell me what to bring. I'll figure it out.
Right.
But yes, I needed that reminder when I saw that quote today of, yes, don't ask the seat, just get on the rocket ship.
I like that one.
Reminded me of that too.
Yes. Okay. So a couple of other tips. So we went through 4, right? 5 is stay open and mindful of your changes, which I think, again, directly correlates with number 4, which is looking at them positively instead of negatively. I could probably dive into that one too. And I always bring up my running too. I'm not running still. And I'm trying to be mindful of this change that I have changed, that I have different goals and I'm different stages of my life, and it's just not the same.
But it's hard. I mean, I've been thinking about that with myself, and I used to be resistance training only. There's a limited amount of time in the day, and I've gotten super into yoga, and it's hard to separate yourself from that self-definition.
Yes,
I'm a runner, I'm a CrossFitter.
It took me so long to accept the running.
I think that makes it harder. You're right. That's because it took you so long to be able to wear that mantle and announce it. And so taking it off, even if it's a choice, is really hard. And
then I always struggled with, am I choosing or am I just being lazy? Like I self-analyze so much. It's not even funny. So.
Well, and I think that same thing. And I just remind myself of, there's a limited amount of time in the day. It's so hard to prioritize when you really do enjoy so many things.
It's true. And I know I start my day off with CrossFit every day. And I'm like, when else? I mean, and then I have work, then the kids are home, and then it's dinner, and then it's dark. And then when was I supposed to run without squishing it in? But then I think, okay, I wrote the book on, I don't know, what you can when you can. Why aren't I trying to squish in a 10-minute run at lunch? Why aren't I? And then I thought,
is what you can when you can the indication and reminder of, the kids are not going to be there forever.
Yes.
You will have so much time to run so soon, fit it in anywhere.
It's so funny because I think the opposite of you. I think not that the kids aren't going to be young forever. I think the kids are not around right now. Why am I going to waste it running?
Oh, and that's really but that is so, you nailed it with and we've now beaten this to death, but at one point it was a novel concept, the glorification of busy.
Yes.
And so I love that you're owning I am not busy now. That is not my
I don't want to be busy right now. No, yes. And I don't know if this is there some magical thing that happens when you turn 40? Because I don't know, I turned 40 and I really am I'm much more careful about how I'm spending my time. And so for example, I like you, I've been taking up yoga again, because it makes me feel good. And I'm like, I can do 1 or 2 classes a week. This is my goal. Yes. And Sunday, I couldn't go for whatever reason. I don't even want to get into it. It's a whole nother drama. And then Tuesday is the other day I normally go. And I was so tired because I only got a couple hours of sleep the night before. The kids have soccer. The husband takes the kids to soccer and I go to yoga. Then I meet him at soccer. Then we do a kid handoff and then he goes to tennis. It's like, I'm very proud of us because we figured out how to make it work for everyone. And I looked at the husband and I went, okay, I'm not going to yoga. I'm just going to take a nap. I really need a nap right now.
Which really might give you the same kind of benefits. What's your goal with yoga? Yeah.
But you know what? And I have to fight all my natural inclination to feel like, I guess not a failure, but like I'm being lazy. I totally get that. Like, am I being lazy because I wanted to take a nap at 5:00 in the afternoon?
Or
am I seizing the opportunity?
Yes, and you're so in tune with what you need. And I think you're phrasing it like that makes me think back at the very, very, very beginning when we were first editing the book. And we would always talk about how, sure, you can take this book, do what you can, when you can, and that's all you need to do, and use it as an excuse. And you would always say, but you know what? If you want an excuse, you'll find it anywhere.
That's true.
So I think you're just being honest with yourself as far as what you need.
I really wanted a nap. I'm not going to lie. I was like, and I think I needed the nap, but I do have this self-police myself in a weird way. Like I I want to
There's
be
a lot
like,
of selves in there.
there's a lot of self. I self-police myself. and I try to be really honest with myself. Okay, did I really need the nap or was I just being lazy? And then I'm like, no, you know what? I really needed the nap. And then there's a weird switch that happens. And then I have a sense of pride. Like, you know what? I'm proud of myself.
Yes.
I needed a nap and I took a nap and I'm not going to feel any guilt about it. So I go through this, like, you know, there's 12 steps. I have these like 12 steps that my mind goes through of, well, I don't know, maybe I'm being lazy. I really probably should take yoga. If I really wanted to do more yoga, then I would take the yoga. But I'm really tired. And I go through these and then I have like this like conversation, this internal like conversation. But at the end of it, I have to say, when I woke up from my nap and I met the husband and I played tennis with I played tennis with the 5-year-old while this 11-year-old's wrapping up his soccer. I thought, no, that's exactly what I needed. I'm proud of myself for listening to my body and taking the nap. Yeah.
See, and that is so, I know that's why we wrote the book. I think that's why we do what we do, because it's, for some people, it may eventually become easy. Oh, I'm going to do yoga at 5 o'clock. You know what? I'm feeling tired. I'm just going to take a nap. Okay. And they move on to the next thing. But for so many of us, it might not be health and fitness, but there's some challenge where we need to go through that mental flow chart. And whatever answer we come up with at the end is our answer. And what's even more impressive is that you've been doing it so long, it really was your answer. You didn't wake up and think, which I think a lot of us do at the beginning of whatever journey we're taking, we would wake up and think, now I feel really bad about myself. I've really disappointed myself. Like, we're not there yet. And whatever the journey is.
Yeah, you beat yourself up. It's true. And then you use that, I took a nap instead of not going to yoga, as an excuse not to go to the next yoga class. And that's what happens. And this is where I feel like the gray comes in. So it's not I can't go to one yoga class, so I don't go to any yoga classes. It's, I missed this one yoga class because I was really tired. So guess what? I'm going back on Sunday. I'm not going to miss that next class.
Yes. And it's starting every day with a clean slate. That is what, even with some stuff I'm struggling with right now, I think each morning I get up, I'm starting all over again. It's like there never was yoga before until that morning. So if you go or not, it only impacts that day.
Exactly. Well, right. And that to me that's living in the gray. It's not it's not, I have to go to yoga. You know, yeah, I'm shooting for 2 classes of yoga a week, but you know what? It didn't happen last week. That's all right. This week I'll get it.
That would be my dog.
It's fine. We can edit it out.
I'm going to have to muzzle him and put him in a crate. No, I love that. And I love the whole flow chart you go through, because it seems like that is really why I barely understand what it is you do during the day when you explain these things. And that's how your brain works. It's not how my brain works. So I'm sure I have different machinations going on in my head, but it's how your brain works, and it works for you.
It does. Yes. I shall be living in the gray. All right. So the last 2 points are keep your mind open. Did you mute? Okay. The last 2 points are keep your mind open and then practice flexibility, which is a huge point in our book as well, being flexible. And that's the same thing we just talked about. It's basically even with my yoga, I did a nap instead of yoga. I'm listening to my body. It's not, I have to do this right now, or I failed. It's this is a gray moment. I'm going to make a decision that's going to serve me better. And then I'm going to move on and go towards my goals and kind of still have that forward momentum. So
I love that this is a gray moment, because I have friends who say that with an entirely different meaning, older friends, 60s, meaning it's an old person moment. I forgot what I was talking about. So I like the appropriation of that as much more positive. I loved the whole article. I thought it said so many new things. And yet when I first read it, I didn't see it coming. I thought, this is going to be the same old stuff and kind of interesting, but it had such an interesting twist and new twist on so much information.
Yes, it did. And it immediately reminded me of stateless dieting, which is something I've been saying. And I think it's a better descriptor of what I'm trying to say. Like, sometimes you just don't have the words to say and I think living in the gray is a good way of saying it. So yes.
And I love, and this is my last ramble on this article, which I adored. It makes me think about how we may need a framework at the start. I think about when we would go bowling when our daughter was really little and they'd put the bumpers in. You may need to start with bumpers, but this gives you something to work toward. I'm not working forever toward losing weight or it gives you a goal of removing the bumpers and living in that vagueness.
Oh, that's also a good metaphor. I like that.
There was something, and now I cannot pull back up the article, but that, when she was talking about accepting compliments and believing what others say about you, that kind of tied back into what I wanted to talk about today. And I laughed that I'm not sure how you pronounce this. I actually did do the online dictionary.com thing so that I could hear it said, but I wanted to talk about a stylistic tool in writing called
Go ahead, Jim.
Aliasm. When I kept hitting it, it was like, it's spelled ILLEISM. And every time I hit play, it would say Aliasm. So I'm going with Aliasm. But it all started out, and I wrote a blog post about it, that we've started watching Heart of Dixie. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
It is terrible. It's so bad that it's hilarious. It really is the poor woman's Gilmore Girls. They have the same kind of.
So wait, is it new? Is it newer?
Old. No, okay. It's got the girl. I keep thinking she was on the remake of the OC, but that's not what she was on. Or maybe it was. Maybe it was the star from the remake of the OC, and there's no one else on there that I knew.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know. It has Dixie in it, and I'm not a Southern girl.
Me either. That's why I resisted it until I was looking for something to watch with. She's really 10, though I call her 11. And so it seemed a little bit benign, which it is not. Unless you're super liberal, you might not want to watch this with your 10-year-old daughter. But we watched it, and I was almost over at the first episode, and there's a character on there, and he's the mayor, and he refers to himself in the third person all the time. Like that episode of Seinfeld people still reference. Do you remember Jimmy?
Yes.
Jimmy likes Elaine.
Yes. I was going to say, so that's what an Iliism is, right?
Yes, it's the third person, and it's, he will say, walk into a party and say, this is the mayor on the show. Levon Hayes would like a cocktail. And it's that, I guess Elmo does it. I know when I mentioned it in my post, a bunch of people commented and reached out to me and said, Elmo does it because Elmo's supposed to talk like a toddler, and toddlers don't get pronouns. So you might come in and say, Rodney Noon is hungry because it's how little kids talk.
But I've never met a toddler that does that. I
hadn't either. No.
Yeah, my kids didn't do that.
No. And so I watched this and I thought it was pretty idiotic. But then, of course, like any bad television becomes a family joke. And I said to the 10-year-old, we were going to Pennsylvania. And I said, when we go visit my parents, I will give you $20, whatever it was, if you'll just walk around the whole time saying your name. If it was me, Carla Bernberg would like to go out to breakfast now. Carla Bernberg had a great day. She's like, that is weird, and I'm not doing that. But this is all a very long prelude to, and this is really shocking to me about me. I feel like lately I've slipped into negative self-talk in the way that 47 years on this planet, I never have. I've started questioning, getting a big writing gig. Can I do this? I'm not sure exactly what they want. Do they know what they want? Am I going to be able to deliver this? I don't know if I can.
The fact that you take 47, I feel like I've been wired like that since years old.
But yes, and I think that was more unnerving to me. It's funny that you point that out because I thought, it does feel like I'm suddenly going backwards when most of us are coming into our own. And so I thought, I delved deeper into what an Iliism is and found out a lot of interesting stuff when it comes to writing that is uninteresting to mostly everybody else. But I guess it's used a lot in literature as a stylistic device, usually to be an example of arrogance. There's a certain political person right now who I guess does it a lot. I hadn't noticed that either. But I started thinking for myself how it could be a tool to turn around my negative self-talk. And it sounds really silly, but I didn't really say it out loud because then people would have thought I was a crazy person. But it really helps. And it still feels really silly when I do it.
So wait, you're doing it in your head. So you refer to yourself in the third person kind of in your brain?
Yes. Okay. So when I'm starting to slip, it's almost like, what did people use rubber bands for? I want to say I had clients that used rubber bands to snap on their wrists for habits they're trying to break, like fast food. I mean, I'm not an advocate of that. Smoking, whatever it was. So it's almost like snapping that rubber band. And when I start to, okay, I just signed a big contract, and I'm feeling really not negative about the contract, but I'm so afraid of delving into that negative headspace that when I open up the document, which I want to avoid, I quite literally think to myself, Carla Bernberg is an awesome writer. Carla Bernberg is going to do this so well. And it's funny. I mean, it really makes me laugh and it really works. And so I did this blog post because I really found it totally empowering in a way that seemed hilarious and ludicrous when it was used on Seinfeld. Flava Flav is another one who does it all the time. Yeah. MC Hammer sometimes does it. But I came up with 3 reasons why it really works for me. And I said in the post, and it was true, that I did it for 24 hours, but I really find myself using it now when I could feel my thought process turning into slipping down the slope of negativity when I don't want it to. And the 3 reasons were, the first one, it feels really bold. It's so weird. It's so preposterous. It quite literally changes the way I sit in my chair. If I'm opening up this Google Doc and I'm starting work on this project, which I'm not very confident about, when I think Carla Bernberg is going to kick some ass when it comes to this writing today, I seriously sit straighter, throw my shoulders back. It's silly, but it is bold and brazen. And it also, and this was super helpful, and I don't know if there's a less silly way to do this, but it gives me a lot of perspective. I'm great with other people's lives, and people will text or call and say, I don't know if you're busy, but I'm struggling with something right now, if you have a minute. And I always think, lay it on me, because I'm sick of my own problems and I'm so much better with other people's. Yeah. So it gives me perspective. It gives me that. It's so silly, but thinking, Carla Bernberg is not sure if she should have signed that contract. This could end very badly. Then I really do think, Carla, this is fine. You've done a million like this before. You'll break it down. It's not that big of a deal, but it's so silly that it gives me perspective and kind of helps me to solve the problem in a sense as if it's not my own. Because when it's not my own, I always find the silver lining for someone. I can always see how they can get out of it. They can conquer it. They can work their way through.
I was going to say it makes you almost have you become your own narrator
and friend. Yes, it's almost like your own
narrator. Yeah,
Greek chorus. I don't like. Well, go ahead.
It reminds me of that movie with, and it's not exactly the same, but it reminded me of that movie with who's the comedian that Elf, who plays Elf?
Will Ferrell.
Well, yes. And he's in a movie and he starts hearing a voice because it's like the woman is writing the story and he's the character in the story.
Yes. You know what movie was that? I do.
It's really good.
That's exactly it. Because my last point of why it's been so powerful for me is it allows me to disconnect like I'm a movie character. I mean, I love movies. I love fiction. I love creating. And it's what would the best version of myself do in this situation? And it's so silly, but it's really helped me stem the tide of negative self-talk. I think it's mainly the laughter, but it's also reminding myself I've got this in a more powerful way than the you can do this.
Right. Do you think maybe it's because it seems so silly, or it makes you laugh, that it's not actually what you're saying? It's that you're kind of giving your brain, like the rubber band snap, like you mentioned, you're giving your brain almost a sense of relief, like comic relief, right? Like a comic relief in the moment, which kind of snaps you out of thinking the negative thoughts. So it's not really that what you're saying is actually changing your, like the fact that you're changing something positive, like saying something positive, but it's just the fact that you're making yourself laugh in the moment. That it's like it's like that rubber band snap where you just go, oh, I'm doing it again.
Yes. And that makes me think about this yoga workshop I did for your hips. And this has been fascinating to me. You were dog sitting recently, right?
Yes. And I will be again next week.
Okay. Well, you got to watch for this. It was so interesting. And I think I hadn't thought of it this way until you pointed that out, that it is works for me because it's that shaking off of the negativity. And this hips workshop was fascinating. My hips are always killing me. And even though it was a little not my thing when they kept talking about the hips being the junk drawer of emotions, and if your hips hurts because you're holding emotion there. But the instructor said, watch your dogs, how they get in a stressful situation, another animal, whatever it is, and then they shake it off.
Right.
And when she was talking about our brain development, and when we had the primitive brain, we did more, again, I don't know if this is true, more quite literally shaking it off physically. So we dumped that negativity out. But now that we don't literally physically move and shake everything off, we store it inside ourselves. And that's what makes our hips hurt, because it's all of those negativity, negative thoughts we don't shake off. And so I thought, you know what, when you said that, that's exactly what it is. This Iliism is so silly. It makes me laugh. That's my shaking it off. And I stop and reframe.
Right. You just, I'm sorry, but you reminded me of the Wiggles. Do you remember the Wiggles?
Yes.
I think it's we get the sillies out.
See, we didn't watch that.
No, it's Yo Gabba Gabba. It's Yo Gabba Gabba. It's get the sillies out. And it's like a little kid dance.
I forgot about them. Yes. Biz Marquee, Biz's beat of the day. See, Biz Marquee would be a good Iliism person. Biz is hungry.
I don't think I've ever referred to myself. I think I do it. Here's, and you have to tell me if this might not be an Iliism. So I don't ever say Ronnie or Ronnie Newt. I guess I used to say old Ronnie and new Ronnie when I would be blogging, which I guess is like a writing answer.
Yes, interesting, yes.
So I'd be like, oh, this is the way instead of saying this is the way I used to think, and this is the way I think now, I'd be like, well, old Ronnie would think this way, and new Ronnie thinks this way. So I guess in that sense, I use it kind of as a writing tool.
Yes.
But it's really more to communicate, again, old thinking and new thinking. But I do it with mommy. Like, so because I refer to myself as mommy, of course, because I'm mommy. So I'll say things like, congratulations, you put mommy in warpath mode. Like, referring to myself, but I'm referring to myself as mommy. And so that's third person.
It's so powerful to them when they hear it.
I guess I don't realize that's what I'm doing, but that's what I'm doing. Like, I'll say stuff like that all the time. Like, I'll be like, that's one I know I've definitely said probably a handful of times, like, congratulations, you just put mommy in warpath mode.
Then everybody scatters. Right. Yes, so it is that same kind of boldness, why I'm attracted to it, for turning around negative self-talk. There's something really, as preposterous and ludicrous as it is, and I was so hoping my daughter would jump at that money, because just the very thought of her little 10-year-old self walking around saying, first and last name would like lunch now.
Right.
That made me laugh. But it's really worked for me. I do think you're right. I think it's the laughter. I think it's my ability to step back when I say, oh, Carla Bernberg is wishing she did not say yes to this new writing gig. It feels like it's not me. And I'm able to think.
It's definitely putting you in, like, I feel I do see a scene of a movie. Like, I just seen, like, I'm in a scene of a movie.
Yes. And it's easier to handle my own stuff, because it's, okay, I may be regretting this. I may be questioning if I can fulfill my obligations. What would the best version of me do? And then I just move forward. It's been really helpful, for as silly as it is.
That's fun. I do mean mommy and nice mommy. I'll be like, do you want mean mommy right now? Or do you want nice mommy right now? I say that a lot too to the kids. So I guess referring to myself as mommy is, in a way, referring to myself as the third person.
And it is that bold tool.
Yeah. And it does relieve the tension, I guess. You know what, in a weird way, and if I really think about it, too, it almost takes me out of the equation and has them make, so it's not, I feel this way, or you're making me feel this way. It's, mommy's going to react this way if these are the choices you choose, or mommy's going to react this way if these are the choices. And it literally makes them think.
Yes. And yes, when I was researching this, sometimes truly mental health diagnosed bipolar, schizophrenic people really do use this all the time. And so I was careful to clarify that the difference between disconnection, I'm not really living my life, versus what you were saying too about, I'm just providing clarity. This is all in your control. Do you want me mommy or nice mommy? And so that's what it allows me to do, to step back and decide, how am I going to move forward? It gives me clarity, but not in a negative way where I feel disconnected from my own life.
Right.
It sounds totally crazy, but it is so funny.
I'm not gonna lie. When you first brought it up, I was kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like how I feel about meditation. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know. This is kind of weird. Then I was like, oh no, I guess I do that kind of naturally, and it's something that we do. It makes sense.
And it's the best thing for a pep talk. I mean, or talking myself out of, because as we discussed, I have a hoarding problem with LaCroix. And so now I'll say in my head, everybody's going to think I'm truly crazy. Carla Bernberg does not drink Diet Coke during the day. Carla Bernberg drinks LaCroix. And that is all my internal monologue, but it really helps because I don't want to get back into that habit.
Right.
It provides levity to something that you could become obsessed and serious about, and life is too short.
Yes. I like it. I think it's kind of a fun tool that maybe people don't even realize is in their arsenal.
Yes. And I've noticed it with my daughter. I don't know if she would use it in the helpful to her way, although she did. I don't know if this is a conversation we've had. Call me this morning right after I dropped her off from school. And she has a different last name than I do, but we'll just use my last name. And I've said her name's Emma. So I answered the phone. Hello. She said, Emma Bernberg forgot her book at home.
Yes.
Like, yeah, we're trying with the levity and the silly. Yeah. Okay. We won't be having the book today. But so she's getting that. It gives a little distance and it might actually work. So I don't know if she'll end up using it for her internal monologue, but she tried to pull that one this morning.
That's funny.
Didn't work. Her book is still at home.
Oh, it's funny. Okay. What are we on to next? I don't even know.
I do have
you had something else. That's right.
Oh, well, no, I was thinking I do have a wycwycer of the week, although it was more a wycwyc image of the week. I don't know if this person she might say she's a wycwycer, but it was something I saw on Instagram, which I thought that captures wycwyc for me in a nutshell. How about you?
I'm going to be really honest. I don't have a wycwycer of a week again, because I'm spending all my time buried in CSS code instead of on social media where I belong.
Well, I will share mine.
You share your. It's funny because I think I took for granted all the years I was blogging about how integrated communicating with social media is. Right. And it's easy. Like, I'd be on Facebook, be on Twitter, I get emails, I reply to them like immediately. And now, like, honestly, I have 350 emails in my inbox. I haven't checked my personal email in 2 days. And then I glance at Facebook and I kind of like things randomly, but I don't feel in touch anymore. And it's like, oh, this is what happens when you have a real job.
And that might be something really interesting to talk about even next week's podcast. It feels like the gray area to me, but it probably would have been the way I used gray area before we read the article. Just living your priorities, getting healthy, being present, and being on social media. And where is the healthy? It's different for each person.
It is. I also find, though, and the landscape today of just the nature that it's an election year and people it's more heavy hearted than it normally is. So I was like, I'm not even getting what I need from social media right now because it's actually detrimental. So again, which is another wycwyc moment of, you know what, this isn't serving me. I need to step away for a little while, especially after the election, and then I'll come back.
When do we wait till after Christmas? So it's after the election.
Oh yeah.
But it is true. It can be a big time consumer. And for some people, it isn't. They can walk away from it. For others, it's a struggle. And how much is too much? It's all such a personal definition. And can it start, because I hear this so often, to bleed into your physical health?
I think it can. I think sometimes I'll notice my own patterns of if I'm already kind of in a withdrawn, kind of funky mood, or I'm just hormonal, or I'm just feeling kind of overly negative, which for me is definitely not my normal. I'll see that I'll spend more time on Facebook, almost in a way.
Interesting. Seeking positivity.
I wish I could say yes, but I think it's more of a woe is me, look at everyone else kind of thing.
Yes,
and it actually feeds the negativity. So in a weird way, When I'm feeling negative, I tend to withdraw. And then when I'm positive, I share positive things and I'm active and I'm whatever. And then if I'm feeling negative, then I become much more of a lurker and I'm behind the scenes. And I think it negatively impacts me it kind of helps keep me in that negative space. And then I have to say, okay, wait, I'm spending time just scrolling endlessly, looking at other people's lives, not living my own right now because I'm in some kind of weird funk. So
yes,
I think it does affect everyone differently. And then I start to think, you just have to cut the cord for a little while and then come back. And I'm still trying. I set a goal and I totally failed at it, which is going one day totally screen free. Is this something that you've ever done? Just totally screen free?
I keep trying to drag. My big downfall is I use the Kindle app, but I keep telling both other people in this house, I want to do screen free. They can pick Saturday or Sunday.
Yes.
No, it does not seem very hard. I'm like, I will buy a paper book, or we just turn off the Wi-Fi or whatever it is. I'm like, but I do. And I find that I now announce it. Like, I am going to read a book. The Wi-Fi is off. The data is off. But because I think it would be our days are so long because she's still an early riser. So I think that becomes a problem. We can do screens and still have taken a long hike with the dog and gone to yoga. So it's not sedentary, but it's the screen. I still think
you definitely can integrate. Like, I feel the same way. I can integrate a lot of activity and still have screens.
A lot of screen.
But I find it fascinating that I'm having such a hard time just going, no, I'm not going to look at any screens today. And the fact that I feel like I can't do it makes me want to do it even more. Like, no, I need to prove to myself that I could go a day not looking at a screen. And then, of course, I brought it up to the family and they're just like, no.
That would be interesting to do, your family and over here, and then see what the results are.
I think we might have to next week talk about a wycwyc challenge.
Yes, I love that. And start with 24 hours. I think it would be super easy.
Or maybe, I think it'll be really hard. I think maybe even doing more of a wycwyc, starting with like a 5-hour window, or you know what I mean? Of like, okay, and then working your way up, almost like a screen fast. Like, I've been reading a lot about intermittent fasting.
Oh, fast. I don't even fast like fast.
No, fast. So like, okay, maybe between the hours of, I don't know, 5 p.m. and bed starts it. And then maybe,
I've started doing that I really don't check my phone after dinner.
Oh, I'm so bad. I have a problem right now. I think I feel a little addicted to my phone.
But it was winding me up. Like, yes. I will sometimes if I'm all by myself, but no, I was really feeling it winding me up. And I've learned from you, and I mean this in the most positive way, and you've said it to me, you don't need to respond. And I realized, you know what? I typically respond to emails within 24 hours. I am not POTUS. There's no need. No one cares. No. And just leaving it languish. That's okay.
I'm getting better at that myself. Like, that's something I always believed. And I had to teach myself that. I was like, I do not have to respond immediately. The beauty of email is that it can sit there in my inbox until I am ready to respond. If someone needs me more urgently, they can text me or call me. Like, you know what I mean? And to take ownership of your communication style. Like, I tend to hold a lot of animosity sometimes because I feel like, why do I always have to change my communication style for other people? Like, that's how I feel. Like, that's literally how I feel sometimes. Yes. And I think, well, wait a minute, I don't. I'm choosing to do that. And then I felt much better about myself.
I'm excited about this. I think we should do this. I love the starting in short increments. It feels I couldn't do it during the week, but then that's also the way how we work.
Yeah, I'm on the computer. I'm on the computer all day for work. So yeah.
But I think it'd be interesting to see. I think my daughter would lose it. I mean, she's outside so much, trampoline, bike, but there's still so many hours in the day she has time to watch YouTube.
Wow. Kids. And we are an Xbox family. So the boys on the Xbox, and that was like the big game, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not game breaker. Deal breaker.
Oh, yes.
That was the big deal breaker. He was like, wait, but I only have Saturdays and Sundays to play Xbox. And I'm like, and then I kind of felt a little like mom guilt. I was like, oh, he's right. You know, he's in school.
Oh, I could see that too.
And he has soccer and like, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to take away one of his only 2 days a week where he gets to do it. And again, not that he's on it all day, but I was like, just to take away that couple hours that he gets. So then there's that. But All right, but we opened up a whole new topic that we should
I
save for
know. I'm excited about that. Okay. I'm very,
so
now this
Wick
kind
of
of,
the
it
week.
fits in.
Yes, good. I'm
This
excited.
is from Instagram Eat Run Sale. And the
Oh,
quote is, okay, now it was on her Instagram, even making it large. I can't see who originated the quote, but it says, be patient with yourself as you evolve. Small, healthy choices make a big difference in the long run.
oh, is that it?
That is it. Well, no, and I was like sitting with it because it's entirely the book, and it's entirely what people don't get. It's the small steps really add up to sustainable change.
They do.
And
Well,
it's what you said about unplugging even 7 o'clock every night, because you're up later than I am typically. If you just give yourself a hard stop, that
yeah,
those tiny changes add up, and then you're less interested in
it's
what
true.
someone's saying at 5.
It's true. And actually, I find for me what helps is the replacing. So I now practice guitar instead of sit on my laptop.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just a different kind of it's a different kind of stimulation that is probably more beneficial to me than playing Juice Jam or reading Facebook posts.
And I think that if offered, I don't know about your boys, and probably not the first few times, but I think even as much as mine is deeply smitten with the YouTube Kids, what is on there? If I said to her, let's play Yahtzee, she would be downstairs at the dining room table in a second. So when you offer something else.
We do that too, actually. And then we're trying to start this Wednesday family movie night where we watch a movie. And so
I've been seeing that.
So yeah, last night we watched Back to the Future, but it slightly backfires. I feel like this is one of those things that parents never talk about too. Like everyone's like, "Oh, we did a family outing." We did like when your kids just don't want to do what it is that you're trying to do. It becomes then you're like, "Why am I doing? Why am I doing this?"
Yep.
Feeling. And then I go, no, we're doing this. So I literally walked in the living room because we put on Back to the Future. That was this week's, because it's available, I think, on HBO Now or something. So we had Back to the Future and we had dinner. We sat down, we're watching the movie, and I look over and everyone's on a device. I went, nope, not going to happen.
That makes me nuts. And that makes me nuts. That goes back to the detox.
I grabbed all the devices and I was like, no, if we're going to have family movie night, we're going to watch this movie together. So then there was all these grumbles. I don't even really want to watch this movie, because 11-year-old has a lot of opinions. And I was like, you're watching the movie with us. It's 2 hours.
I love, that's the perfect baby step, is that if the wycwyc to the digital detox for a whole day is just, because this would be hard for the male biped in the house, one device at a time. He's got the Apple Watch, the iPad, and the TV.
Right.
So maybe it's just fully to commit to one device at a time for the first Saturday.
That's funny. Yes. Yeah. So like, I feel like we don't even watch TV anymore without a laptop or a phone or the iPad or something. It's just too many screens. I'm like, I need a screen break. I have to go camping or something.
I know. I'm with you on that one. Okay. We need to talk about this and brainstorm a digital detox, whether it starts for an hour, one device at a time, 2 hours in the evening.
Maybe get people to like, leave that their initial goal is, and then kind of we can check back in with each other every week to see, even if it's just one day for a specific amount of time, and then the next week it's a longer amount of time or a second day. Like you can kind of take it in two different directions, where it's like, okay, every day, like tomorrow I'm going to get off my screens at 6 p.m. or whatever, but now, okay, I'm going to try to do that every day, or just one day a week, every day, I'm going to get off my device an hour earlier or a half hour earlier. So you can kind of take it in two different directions.
It is amazing. And I think my biggest fear when I started just walking away at night was, and I will leave you with this, why would I ever want to get back on? Part of me really thought, if I walk away, and not because of the connection, friends, on and on and on. I'm thinking because of working in that world. Sometimes I don't wonder if I don't walk away for an extended period of time, if I would think, oh, I don't want to work in social media anymore. I need real interaction. So it's interesting in that way for me too.
I'm right there I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, that's a perfect note to end on. I'm so glad you didn't say, I cannot relate to that.
No, I totally agree.
Yes.
There's part of me wants to end the podcast saying Ronnie Doon had a great time.
Carla Bernberg cannot wait until next week. And she is an awesome writer and going to kick ass with her new project.
See, I don't know if I have the confidence to say those such positive things. Isn't that horrible?
Oh, yes, it is silly, awkward, but you say it. I mean, I will say it out loud alone in the house. Carla Bernberg can handle this. Carla Bernberg is amazing with organization and spreadsheets.
Oh my gosh. I think I need to I need to start trying. I'm gonna task myself with trying to say something positive in the third person about myself. I will let you know next week what it is that I have said to myself, because I can't do it right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is perfect. I feel normalized and empowered. Wycwyc.
All right. On that note, we're out. Wycwyc. We're done. All right. I just need a little air time to be able to